And that could really bolster up your defense on the front side of it as well. So I'd be curious to see if that happens. Also, we know that New England has a lot of cap space. And could they grab him and add him onto their defense?
I mean, that's a very valid point. And obviously, we know New England had a fantastic year. Obviously, one game away from the Super Bowl championship. And, I think that Kraft and everyone's going to be aggressive with what they do. And as they kind of go into, as they have a clearer picture now, because coming into this past year, we weren't real sure how they were going to do. And we know their schedule is going to be tougher. We know that much because they went from a team that was, a top 5 pick and had an awful season the year before to almost win the Super Bowl. So their schedule is going to be tougher. I know that was a big caveat that a lot of people said was they had a weak schedule. And now we're going to see if those guys, for the most part, who played this past year, if they're going to stay out there and if they can compete against some probably better teams and some tougher odds. So we don't have a schedule release yet. That should be coming up here in a little bit. But we'll see how all that kind of goes here in just, the coming weeks and months. But Jay, unless you got any more free agents we'll talk about, we can shift over to some NBA action.
No, that was pretty much all the main free agents I wanted to talk about. But no, we can get on the NBA.
All right. Well, as we know, the second half of the season just kicked off last night. And for a lot of teams, I mean, I'm not feeling the love this year, Jay. I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling the bug of the NBA in sense of you're not getting, super competitive games. You're not getting Cinderella stories. It's just I felt like the league's kind of in purgatory because it's the same teams, the same players, and there's not a whole lot new stuff going on. There's not a whole lot that's enticing me to watch the regular season. Obviously, you have the hot shot rookies, of course, with Cooper Flag and so on and so forth. Trade deadline was I thought the trade deadline was solid, but there's just a lot of injuries to big name guys out there. They're hurt, they're resting, and there's talks of tanking. And the commish, Adam Silver, has already said that we're already going to be negotiating how to stop that. But then you got Mark Cuban, as we know, who I believe former Mavericks owner at this point. He said, no, let's just blow it up. Let's tank. Which I think is pretty funny coming from a guy who his team just had the number 1 overall pick. But let's just talk about kind of the state of the league, Jay, in more terms of just kind of adding everything together in terms of what you see with the standings, other than, Detroit in the last year or two making a big jump, other than, maybe San Antonio and possibly Minnesota in the last couple of years. It's pretty much you can write all these teams out 1 through 8, because the play-in spots are always going to be the same. But for 10, let's just do armchair commissioner. What do you do, Jay, to maybe shake things up? Because look, the All-Star format, God bless it. They're trying everything. They're trying everything. And I thought the old guys versus new guys, the world versus the US, I thought that's a good concept. Okay. I think that's a positive step. But the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, they got rid of the skills challenge after Wembanyama and Chris Paul exploited the other year and made it. They said, look, you're timing us. We don't have to be accurate. And they said, oh, no, we're getting rid of it completely. What do you think the main issue is with the NBA? What do you think the main problem is? Is it the players? Is it the tanking? Is it just the competitiveness? Is it the cap space? There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of rabbit holes we can go down.
Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the players don't feel incentivized enough to really go in and play. If you look at, let's just at the slam dunk competition. Let's just start there.
Let's do it. Let's do and look, 10 years ago, Jay, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, they put on, a lot of people say, I think greatest show ever, right? Back-to-back years in 15, 16, 17, whatever it was. But my God, I don't know who the hell half these people were this year's draft. You had Jay, you had Matt, and God bless. I know he's working hard. You had Mac McClung win it back-to-back years. He's in the J League and he won it. You're not getting the big name guys anymore. You haven't in years. You were just not. They have no reason to do it. If I'm getting paid $50 million a season, why would I want to go out there and risk breaking my leg? Because we saw Richardson, Jay. We don't see it often, but he landed on his back, and I don't think he got hurt. But still, that the team just cringed for half a second once his head hit that hardwood.
What did he do? Didn't he hit he hit the backboard some kind of way? Was it? It was. I think with the ball or something, didn't he? And then that's what put him back.
It was if I remember correctly, it was bounced off the side of the backboard. Someone tossed it. Yeah. And I guess he maybe over rotated or he clipped the backboard somewhere, and that's what sent him going to the floor. Yeah. Thankfully, he didn't get hurt or nothing serious, just some bruises and some roasting on Twitter and everything. But other than hurt his ego, I think he's fine. And as for man, his pops, because his dad is Jason Richardson, who is one of the best dunkers of all time. That hurt a little bit. But let's get your thoughts though, man.
I'm going to tell you my thoughts. My thoughts are, it would have been so bad if the other dunkers were doing something like legitimate, and they weren't. They were not. They weren't even close. I don't even remember the guys' names, Logan. Like you said, these are guys I'd never even heard of. But remember the one guy, he just does a casual dunk. It's not even like anything fancy. He just takes a couple of bounces and then just simply dunks it with one hand, and then he gets a 47. He got a 47 with just a basic lob-in dunk. At least put your elbow in the rim like Vince Carter did if you're going to do that kind of a simple dunk. Then you get Richardson, who hits his back on the ground, and then you get the other guy who does a basic behind-the-back windmill dunk, and that was pretty much it. Why? I'll tell you why. You want to know why we get what we get now? We get what we get now simply because of one thing and one thing only. The NBA does not put out any money in these competitions. So why, in today's day and age, look, we don't, and I told you this before, I'm going to say it again. The NBA has changed since the 2000s. When the face of the league became LeBron James and not a Michael Jordan type of era, now you get what you get. You get load management. You get injuries, flopping. You get people crying about stuff. The soul of the NBA, Logan, has left. There is no soul. There is no competitive fire. It's all about show me the money, and I'll give you a little bit. Because now it's more do for me, I'm not going to do for you. And so when you get that type of mentality, well, then you're going to get the bottom of the barrel dunkers, because the Kawhi Leonards, the Giannis's, anybody else that, the Trae Youngs, Devin Bookers, anybody that has any kind of dunking ability isn't going to go do it. The Jason Tatums, the Browns, Jaylen Browns, they're not doing it. They're not doing it because there's no money in it. And if there's no money in it, why should I go do that? I'm better off just playing a little all-star game, right? And then if you can get him even in that, right? I mean, now Kawhi Leonard was there, right? Wembanyama was there. Joker was there. I mean, all the big names were there. Even LeBron James was there. And LeBron James only gave you 8 minutes and 2 points. So I don't even know why he was really there. But that's besides the point. The point is the concept of the way the NBA is now is verified, right? In terms of the tournament style, like you said, stars versus stripes, and then, single elimination. Ultimately, the world got eliminated, and I believe the stars won, if I'm not mistaken. But the tournament is good. But the events leading up to the tournament, like you said, Logan, when Damian Lillard has a torn ACL, and that's your three-point champion, what are we doing?
Thank you for mentioning that, because that's my biggest gripe from the All-Star weekend. It wasn't, I thought the new All-Star game format, I thought that was a plus, right? I thought, okay, because you gotta shake it up a little bit. Dunk contest, that's been in hell for years at this point. But my issue with the 3-point contest is and they did with the dunk contest. So they said, might as well open up to the 3-point contest. Why is Damian Lillard out there, Jay? Why? Right. If I'm Portland, why do I allow it? This is a guy who is the face of the, he left for a season in Milwaukee, but is arguably your best player since, Clyde Drexler and company back in the 90s.
Right.
He is hurt, Jay. He hasn't played a minute this season due to recovering from a left Achilles injury. Why on God's green earth is he in the 3-point contest? Why do you allow that?
Yeah.
If you're the owner, if you're the GM, if you're the coach, why don't you say, well, if you can, but you're going to come back to play on the court. If you can shoot threes and also you're not just standing in the corner, you're going from point A to point B, so on and so forth. If you can do that, I kick you on the court. Right. Either you're healthy or you're not. That's what I don't understand.
I didn't get to watch the 3-point contest because I had other things going on. But who else was in the 3-point contest besides Damian Lillard?
Let me get that pulled up for you here. So
I have a feeling I don't think Steph Curry was there. I think Steph Curry was actually injured, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me see here. Let me scroll through all of this because it was a ton. And let's not forget, Jay, the All-Star, not the All-Star game, the celebrity game where you had, oh my God, you had Shams Charania, the resident NBA guru free agency guy, put up 0 points, didn't do a thing. I thought that was funny. So you had it. I would say the 3-point contest had some. I think the 3-point contest has surpassed the dunk contest in terms of value, right?
Right.
Which it's crazy for me because it ain't like they're not doing behind the back shots or anything like that. They're just shooting threes, which it's fun. It's cool concept, but for me, I think dunk contest as a whole is a better, for me as a viewer, I prefer to watch that. But the 3-point contest had the following players. Damian Lillard, who'd won the thing. You had Devin Booker in Phoenix, who's been in it multiple times. You had Con Kneppel, a young guy from Charlotte, who, he's a young rookie, second-year player. You had Donovan Mitchell, as well as Norman Powell, Jamal Murray, Tyrese Maxey, and Bobby Portis Jr. I mean, other than a handful of guys, right? You're watching for Lillard just because the guy ain't played all season. And we'll see how he does. Okay.
Yeah.
Booker, Mitchell, those are kind of the, A-tier guys who, you want to see them do well. You have a young guy in Kneppel who's done some good work in Charlotte, but if you don't follow the team, you don't really know much about him. I mean, look, no disrespect to Norman Powell or Jamal Murray or Bobby Portis or Tyrese Maxey. All good players, but I mean, they're not creme de la creme. You know what I mean? And it's just been tough overall for the All-Star game. And as long as we've been on here, we've brought up many ways how we can fix it.
Absolutely.
How we think what we would do if we were, in that position. They've changed some things, but ultimately the product still, there wasn't a big boost, I don't feel, for this. Like I said, you pay the player. You brought a point earlier I want to go back to. You said, well, they're not incentivized. You don't pay them.
Right.
Why they aren't, what they're putting that money they should be putting the NBA All-Star game into? You know what they're giving away? The NBA Cup. Let's be real.
NBA Cup.
Let's be real, Jay. Let's be real. There's been I think 2 or 3 years of that. I think the Knicks won it this past year.
Yeah.
I personal opinion. If you have if I'm wrong, please let me know. Does anyone care, Jay? Do you care about an in-season tournament that doesn't mean anything other than the court changes?
I don't understand the NBA Cup. I don't
get what's the point of it?
Yeah.
And also we got Joe chiming in saying, yeah, the All-Star game was boring.
It was very boring.
Yeah. I mean, normally I either watch it or I see clips and I'm like, oh, hey, this is cool. I want to go back and watch. Jay, there's been years where I wasn't able to watch it live, but I'll record the All-Star game or the dunk contest, and I'll say, all right, I'll watch it later because it's going to be good. I haven't done that 5-6 years. I don't have a need to.
Hey, real quick, if I can, the U.S. did get the gold in the half pipe.
Yes, they did. I got it in the background right here. I'm watching the celebrations, and I see the U.S. all smiles, Jay. And
Hey, but Frankie
that.
was doubting it though. I saw Frankie in the group chat was saying he thought that the Canadians were going to take it, and I said, no, Frankie, we're going to get it.
So you got to have the bald eagle flying, man. You gotta get it going. But no, hey, good work all around, and another gold medal for the U.S., Jay, and that'll put us at 10 now.
Thank God, man. We needed another gold medal, and if we could just get it in hockey now, I'm gonna feel a lot better about it.
Yeah, like I said, we still got the weekend, and also we got a chime in here from Robert saying, "I've not seen an All-Star game for any sport over a decade."
Yeah, you're not missing anything, Robert. Oh. You're not missing a damn thing, man.
Well, because think about it, Jay. What are the really kind of the only All-Star games? You have the NBA and MLB. All right. I mean, because NFL, they have the Pro Bowl. I don't count that as an All-Star game. I don't even know. That's its own thing at this point. I could care less. Look, and that's my personal thing. I've never cared about the Pro Bowl, personally. There's no incentive to it. It's just you're there, right? It's a collection of guys who are paid to go to Hawaii for a couple days, and they're playing flag football years ago. Now they just have skills competitions. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the sport. I don't enjoy that much to watch, all that.
I gotta be honest with you. The last really good dunk. Let me just go back to the dunk contest for a second. The last good dunk contest that I saw was when Vince Carter put his elbow in the ring. When he had his elbow, remember he was dangling by his elbow? Yeah, that was the last really good All-Star dunk that I can remember.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I'll go back to the one with Aaron Gordon and Levine, who drew in the under the legs, 360s. I thought that was one of the best ones. I think I want to say, the Vince Carter one from 2000 is ultimately the best. And hey, I will say this: I didn't see any guys hitting layups this year like we did back in some of the 90s. Those were a little rough. Let's not get it twisted. Everything wasn't grand back then. Also, Robert saying he's been boycotting the NBA, Jay. He hasn't watched a game.
I don't blame him.
They sold Supersonic. So that's been close to 20 years. I think they sold them in 2008 is when they moved over.
Yeah,
so about 20 years.
I think it's been around there. Robert probably knows better than I do. I think it was early 2000s.
Hey, but Robert, I know you were happy about the Seahawks win, though, baby. I know you were happy about that.
Here's the thing, though. I think they're coming back. We are going to see the Supersonics at some point within the next 1 to 2 years. I think we're going to see the Supersonics, and you're going to see that same green jersey that they wore. So, Robert, just be patient. I think you're going to get your team back within the next year or two, and then you'll be able to put that banner, that 79 banner, back up. Yeah. Back up in your Raptors. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I mean, the NBA hasn't even had a new team since I think it was Brooklyn, wasn't it? Brooklyn Nets. I think that was the last kind of the change that they had. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was the last team that they added. What was whenever New Jersey transitioned out to Brooklyn. I mean, they need they gotta have they need something fresh, whether it's
right.
Because I feel like it's kind of getting stale at this point. Whether it's new jerseys, new teams. You haven't expanded in a while, so I think whenever you expand, it always helps because you get a new fan base, right? We've seen. I mean, look at the WNBA; they've expanded by damn near half in the last couple of years, and you see them. They're getting more popular. So just that they sold the Supersonics in 2006 officially. So that's when they officially sold. I don't think they moved over to the Thunder until 2008 though. So it's been 20 years, give or take. But yeah, I mean that I think the NBA and let's talk about tanking real quick. We'll wrap it up
let's
there.
do that.
But you've seen Adam Silver say that they're going to implement some anti-tanking into the league, whatever the hell that means. And then you've seen former owners like Mark Cuban saying, "Oh, I'm all for it. Let them roll in. Let the tanks roll in." Jay, where do you stand on this? Because I don't see any of this in any other sport. I don't hear any discourse about in baseball teams tanking or in football. I hear in football, but I don't hear it as loudly, I would say, as the NBA. How do you stop this? Do you? And I mean, I think that when they implemented a couple of years ago the requirement that, all right, hey, if you play in X amount of games, you have to play in, I think 65 games is the requirement now to be eligible for awards. I think that's a good start, but we're still not there yet. Is that something that you have to lower, saying, all right, or you have to play, or you raise, say you have to play in 70 games to, because that would mean you're only missing 12 per season, which it's tough, right? Because we know the league, it's a physical league still, and see a lot of guys get hurt. But what are some maybe some ideas you want to throw out that can fix some of the issues we see with tanking?
And that's the thing, right? That's the hard thing about tanking is now that Kawhi Leonard had brought in load management, right? Back in the day when he's kind of the first one that started bringing in load management.
Hey, Jay, he's working on those trees out there in LA,
You know what I'm saying? And then you got Bron, he kind of picked it up, and then Anthony Davis, and it just kind of spread throughout the league. I don't know how you can prevent tanking. How are you going to tell somebody that they can't play if they're hurt? Do you go get doctors? Do you get doctor's notes? Do they have to have it verified to the league? Like, I guess the league doctor going to be the one that goes in there and says, yeah, this guy can play, or no, he can't play. People rest people all the time to get ready. Yeah. Now, look, even in football, right? As you get closer to the Super Bowl, because from a fantasy perspective, when we get closer to football, what do? They start resting their starters, and you're like, oh my God, why is he playing? Why is he playing? But they're doing it because they don't want to have an injury going into the playoffs. So I don't know that you can ever really stop tanking. Do you put fines out there for that? Okay, maybe we start fining teams if we think they're tanking. But the problem is, how do you justify it? What are you using to justify to say that this guy is tanking, or is this guy, just resting because he needed a day off, or is he like legitimately hurt and so they're trying to watch his minutes? I mean, I don't know how you're going to implement that, how you're going to make that happen, because it's too subjective, And Robert says, I feel like tanking screws the fans. It does screw the fans. I don't pay good money for a losing game. And you're right, Robert. And I wouldn't want to pay money to see somebody tank either. If I'm going there to see, for example, if I'm going to see the Rockets, I want to see Kevin Durant on the court. I don't want to see him sitting on the bench. Or if I go see the Lakers, I don't want to see LeBron on the bench. Damn it, that's the reason why he's a Laker. So I want to see him out there playing. But how do you justify it? You justify, because as long as fans are willing to pay the money to watch the teams,
they're gonna keep doing it.
As long as they're buying the merchandise, they're gonna do it.
So I want to throw at least two kind of theories I've seen out, just kind of researching, right? And I want to get your thoughts on it and see, if you've implemented both of them, one of them, or none of them. All right. So one that I've seen is how do you curb it, right? Is you have a minimum win threshold. So this comment here says that you have to achieve a certain amount of wins in order to be eligible for your best draft odds, right? So say, Sacramento has, I think, 12 wins or something right now. If you don't get to like 30, you don't get, higher odds to be number one in the draft.
Right.
If, you could do that. And also, I think I don't know if they're going to do the minimum win requirement, because that's tough. You know what I mean? If you have 24, but you're one short, I feel like that kind of screws them over a little bit. And look, you're going to have bad teams. That's just how it is. Here's what I think you should do, though. You bring the you move the lottery date to the All-Star break, right? So that way, the second half of the year, if, like you said, if your team sucks, then at least at the All-Star break, you have that kind of cut of halfway point of, all right, we're not looking good right now, but here is where it's at. Or you can freeze the odds at the trade deadline. Just a couple of solutions here. I think that I think definitely move the draft lottery up. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I don't know if you like kind of combine the record from, you know, the last year. I don't know how you're exactly going to do that, but I think that's better. The win threshold, you know, that's kind of tough to hit. But I think if you move the lottery up or you remove the pick protections, because let's not forget, Jay, I think the NBA is the only team or the only league that has, you know, top 5 pick protected, top 10 protected. If you just cut those and say it's a first round pick, a second round pick, so on and so forth. I mean, hell, look at and credit to them. Look what Oklahoma City did. How they got a bajillion picks, and they're either using them for their team or they traded them for other assets.
Absolutely. And here's my thing too, Logan. And I don't know if it's fair or not, but if you really want to stop tanking, if you really want to stop teams from trying to have the worst record and have the best pick, then just put the number 1 seed on a rotational basis. So, for example, you just cycle through. So if this year I got the number 1 pick, next year I'll have, you know, maybe the bottom pick or whatever, and just have it rotate to where there's no guaranteed spot because of your record. Just have it be a rotational thing.
I definitely think
I could think of that you could get rid of that.
I definitely think the lottery format. I've never liked the lottery format. All right, I've always thought that was just for show. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a valuable way to assess how a team. I mean, look, Dallas didn't even have the worst record last year. They were like, I think they're projected to be like 9 or 10, and they won. Right. And a brief look at the standings. Dallas, they're still not great. You know, they're 19 and 35. So Cooper Flagg ain't help a whole lot.
Right.
You don't want to give it to them again, obviously. But I mean, it's the same. It's basically the same teams, always in the same spots for the last 5 years at least. It feels like.
Like why are these teams not building upon what they've got?
Why are we not seeing teams get better? Here's my thing: why are we not seeing teams get better? And if we are, why is it only for a season? All right.
Right.
Look at Memphis. Right. Memphis a couple of years ago. John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams. Those guys were forces to be reckoned with. I ain't saying they were going to win a championship, but damn it, they were competitive.
Yeah, that was a strong team back then.
That was a very good Western Conference team. Look at Phoenix. They went to the finals in 21 with Ayton, with Booker, with Chris Paul. They didn't do anything after that. They didn't go back, and currently they're the number 7 seed. Right. Golden State, I give a pass to because those guys got older, right? That's just how it goes sometimes. That's in the West. I will give credit, though, Jay. Teams who have either stayed on or have gotten better. Of course, we mentioned Oklahoma City. The Lakers have always been in contention the last couple of years. But credit to San Antonio. They got a number 1 pick. They got Wembanyama. You know, they got their new head coach after Pop had to go down. And they've got better after using the draft, using the lottery. Right. I'll give them credit. I'll give you Houston Rockets credit as well. Building through the draft, building key free agent pickups. But I feel like the main culprit, Jay, is in the East, for God's sake. The East is just rough to watch.
It's always been rough.
And I will say, and I will give full tip of the hat to Detroit with the Pistons. How they 2 years ago had the worst record almost of all time, and they're now a number 1 seed at 41 and 13, 5.5 games up. Also, Boston, credit to them. They've done great with, Tatum being out and Brown, getting hurt occasionally. The fact that they're number 2 seed in the East is insane to me. New York has, kind of been up and down, but right now they're number 3 seed. Cleveland's been up there as well. I'll say this, in the East, my biggest kind of surprise, other than Boston being as good as they have, is Toronto being number 5 right now.
Right.
Toronto's look good. Philadelphia's hanging on at number 6. They've they kind of go through spurts, but I mean, Jay, tell me if these bottom 4 teams sounds familiar to you. All right, currently in the play-in, all right, in the East and in the West. We're going to do the East first, though. Orlando Magic, Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets. I mean, you could flip those out the last 5 years, and I feel like you're going to get the same thing. Maybe add Milwaukee in there or something. In the West, you've got Phoenix, Golden State, the Clippers, in Portland. But, I mean, hell, you haven't seen a team. Also, too, look, we talked about teams who they have a year of success, right? We talked about Memphis. I want to pick on the Sacramento Kings. I want to pick on them for a minute, Jay.
Yeah.
Remember lighting the beam? Remember
rough.
lighting that up a couple of years ago? Remember how they were red hot? They were looking fantastic. Oh my God, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the last time I remember the Kings being really, really good was when Vlade Divac, Peja Stojakovic, Helio Turkoglu, and all those guys.
Yeah, that was like an 0-3.
Yeah, that's honestly the last time I remember a competitive Sacramento team. That's the last time, and that's crazy. Like in the Maloufs, I think the Malouf family still owns them, don't they? I don't think they've sold them.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll have to look into it. But Robert here chiming in saying, I think the way to deal with tanking is more detailed injury reports and players with independent examinations to verify the true status of listed injuries. I think that could work. I think that could be another, rung they go through by listing, how I see in baseball, there's broke ham and bones. I mean, I feel like baseball really goes into details with all these. For basketball, it's like, towards ACL or,
yeah, and that's it. They don't really give out.
There's nothing super specific. I feel like I never see with that. And also, Joe just saying he thinks the Rockets are about a year away from being elite. Let's get your thoughts on that. Do you think they're already there? Do you think one more off season, one more draft, and then you'll be kind of in, let's just say, top 3 in the West? We'll go, elite, top 3.
In all honesty, Logan, the weakness right now with the Rockets is the point guard spot. Because we lost Van Fleet due to injury, and that really, and not that Amen Thompson hasn't done good things. But we're using right now a bench player, and I believe it's Eason gets most of the credit. Sometimes they do Ojoki. I mean, they kind of rotate that spot, right? They don't keep one specific guy at the point. I feel like if we had Van Fleet, that we would either be second place or we would be really, really, really close to getting first place. I think the Thunder still have a slight edge, but I don't think it'll be much on us. And what makes me mad is Harden. Now, I know a lot of people can say what they want to say about Harden, but that guy can still give you. He doesn't have to be the leader on that team. He just has to go out there and play his role as a point
20
guard.
A night. No problem.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Why did we not make a move to bring Harden in and go that route? Because I think that would have been perfect. I think that could have sustained us and maybe even made us even more of a contender. Is Joe, are we a year away, Joe? Probably. If we can get Van Fleet back and not have any injuries and keep this core group intact, that we could compete for a championship. Honestly, I really do think we can compete for the championship if we have a more solid point guard play.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's always some pieces, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like maybe at the trade deadline, you could have picked up a couple things, but that could always, that or maybe some free agents, maybe some guys who, could always sign still to maybe give that second push to end the year. Like I said, I thought the Harden pickup was good because it's a guy who, like I said, look, he ain't the MVP from 2018, right? He ain't.
Right.
He's not putting up 35, 46, 33, whatever the hell it was, that crazy run he went on. But he can still give you 20 points a game with closing his eyes. He can do it with one hand. You do it on free throws alone. So, I mean, I think that y'all are good there. For my team with the Hawks, we just suck, Jay. What more do you want me to say? Our team sucks.
Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me.
Here's my thing, though, right? Obviously, the big takeaway for this year is you got rid of Trae Young. Trade him off to Washington.
Yeah.
Washington's going to be interesting next year, only because you got Trae Young. You got Alex Sarr, who's their number one pick, 2 years ago. And, of course, you got Anthony Davis now. Interesting dynamic, but you got to build that chemistry first. So, with Atlanta.
Do you think the Wizards move on from Anthony Davis though? Do you think that do you give him about a year or so and they move on from him?
If he don't get it done in Washington, he's cooked.
That's the way I feel.
If he don't get it done in Washington, Jay, where the hell else is he going to be?
Right.
Go back to New Orleans. I mean, if you don't get it done there, I don't know where else you're going to go. Unless Washington does a 180 and turns it around and goes back to, where they were like with John Wall and Bradley Beal type days. I think you're dead in the water for Davis at least. I think Trey's still young enough. He'll be fine. He can go to another team. But Davis is what? He was drafted in 2011. I mean, he's been in the league for 15 years, basically. Ain't getting any younger. We know the injuries he's got. But I mean, for Atlanta, glad we got a couple good pieces. Jalen Johnson's a hell of a player. Love him. If it wasn't for him, we'd be where Sacramento's at. Right? We'd be where New Orleans is at right now.
Right.
But he's been good. Kiel Alexander-Walker, I think, has been a good addition. He's played well. But yeah, I don't know if Quinn Snyder needs to go as the coach. But my God, we haven't had a good year since 2021, 22. Whenever we beat New York in the conference, or excuse me, in the divisional round, going to the conference finals and whatnot. I mean, we haven't done anything since that. And Atlanta has been a strong defensive team in years. I don't know what the problem is. Hey, let's not forget, Jay, we had Kristaps Porzingis for a week, I feel. We had him for a cup of coffee. Now he's in Golden State before whatever the hell is wrong with him, man. I hope he gets healthy because, my God, I haven't seen him on the court much at all. So I hope he gets whatever is wrong with him under control finally so we can get back on the court. But yeah, hey, we won last night. We beat Philadelphia. Embiid didn't play, but win's a win. We're 3 games below 500, currently at 27-30, and we're going for another play-in game. Hooray! Yippee! What do I have to be excited about? A chance to get knocked out in a round? Yeah, we just haven't made that step. I don't know if it's free agency. I mean, we haven't had Porzingis was a big name for us, but he didn't play. It didn't work out. I think the smaller names that they've got who've worked out, I mentioned Alexander Walker, who's done good. Dyson Daniels has been phenomenal for them. But they don't really have their bench is weak. They don't have a strong bench at all. And that kills them. So if guys are hurt, you're pretty much done for. And also we're climbing out here with Joe saying, do you think Jay VanVleet is going to be back in the playoffs? I'm not sure what his injury is.
No, he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
I think I think he's going to be back, Joe? No. Honestly, if I was a betting man, I would say that VanVleet is done for this year. I think you see him next year. It does not mean that he cannot make it back. I mean, I guess it's still an opportunity. But here's the thing: even on the injury report, like so, for example, the injury report it says Steven Adams, when season-ending knee surgery. I mean, they always tell you when it's season-ending, and the fact that on Fred VanVleet on the Rockets injury report, it says torn ACL, may be out for the entire 25-26 campaign. And that's via Shams. The fact that it says might be, it's like they're leaving the door open for that. So I'm not saying he can't. It'd
have to be deep. It'd have to be a deep run, I think, because an ACL injury you don't want to rush back, right? It would have to be conference finals minimum. You know what I mean? Finals, perhaps. I mean, that's tough though. But yeah, normally with ACL injuries, typically you're done for the year. And he got hurt in training camp, if I'm not mistaken. He got hurt before the season even started, basically. I mean, that's why you don't have guys. And I also think that's also why the league is hurting right now, is because you have so many injuries to top guys, right? Jason Tatum out for the year. And sorry, Glenn. Tyrese Halliburton out for the year in Indiana. Trae Young out for, he ain't played. Anthony Davis is always hurt. I mean, LeBron, he's 47 or whatever, but he ain't playing as much. Kawhi Leonard, we know he ain't playing as much. So a lot of the top names ain't playing. Just either they're hurt legitimately or they're just resting. And And that's my 2 cents. But let's get your thoughts here, Jay. One more thoughts here. Then we'll do a final medal recap, of course, and give some positive news on the U.S. side for hockey before we end the show.
My only thing is with Tatum, I have seen reports that Tatum has been practicing, and that they're kind of leaving the window of opportunity open for Tatum.
Yeah.
If I feel like if Boston can hang on to that number 2 spot, and if they get Tatum maybe a week or a couple of days before the playoffs, they might be able to do something. But I would not hedge your bets on that. But I would say that Tatum is closer to coming back than most of the people on the injury report. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not saying he won't be back, but I'm not saying he will. I mean, I think he's in that limbo spot where they're trying to see if he can or if he can't. So, more to follow on him. Yep. But as far as the standings go, man, I think Houston is probably right where they should be at the number 4 spot. And we're going to see what they do. I think the Thunder are going to be the Thunder. I would not put anything in that injury report to valid use. I think the Thunder are going to be 100% come playoff time. I think the Knicks are not going to get it done. I think the Pistons are going to walk into the playoffs unless Boston can do something. I think the Pistons are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think they'll keep that number 1 seed. And hey, I'm all for it, man. I don't care. I'm not a fan of Detroit, but I respect them for what they've done with that franchise. You got, if you're a sports fan, if you're a basketball fan, you got to respect them for what they've done and how they've turned that team around. Quick check here. U.S. in semifinals, currently up 1-0 against Slovakia. Hopefully they can keep that up here. Current check is just under 12 minutes in the first period, so still a lot of game left, but currently the boys, the red, white, and blue, looking good, up 1-0, and hopefully we can face Canada. Current check in the medal count. Still up top is Norway with 37, with 17 gold leading the way. The U.S. in second place, 28 medals in total, including 10 gold, 12 silver, and 6 bronzes. As we mentioned during the show, they won the half pipe. Italy's in third with 26, so we're getting a little bit, slight 2-medal lead over Italy. Like to see that. The Netherlands are in fourth with 17 total. They got guys like Germany and France, Switzerland, Sweden, so on and so forth. And Canada's way down there at 11. So, like I said, I'm expecting, I think, Jay, just final wrap it up here. For us, I think the U.S., I think we'll stay that second place route for the weekend. Worst, I think, is we're going to go third, just because Italy's right there with us. But I don't see us, dipping below that to fourth or anything like that. So I think that we are going to be one of the top 3 teams, and more realistically second or third, just because Norway built such a big lead early on. It's tough to catch up to. And I mean, and look, like we said, Norway, this is their time to shine. You know what I mean? This is they thrive in these conditions. And I mean, for the U.S., we typically do very well in the summer games. And we do, fairly well in the winter games. But I feel like, with the amount of goals we've already won and the few that we can, pick up for the weekend, and hopefully for the U.S. men's, we can get our 11th gold with this one. And, really just stick it to Canada with the hockey. Boy, that would be great, wouldn't it? But you got to get there first. You got to get there first. You got to beat Slovakia. Yep. And if you can beat them, then you got one more big game in the finals.
I'll tell you, there's been this hockey team between USA and Slovakia, there's been some chippiness already
I've seen, a little bit of back and forth, a little shoving here. I haven't seen any fist fights yet, but I feel like we're reaching that boiling point here early on in the game. Like I said, we've just been playing 10 minutes basically, and it's a lot of high tension.
It's going to be interesting, Logan. I know we've already seen one big fight. We just had one goalie interference on the U.S., unfortunately. But it's 1-0. I think it's going to be chippy, but I got a feeling, Logan. I just got good vibes.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
I got good vibes that we make it to the gold medal game. And then I think it's going to be us in Canada. Oh, Canada. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Hey, we'll see what happens. Drop a comment, though. Let us know how you think the U.S. is going to do, how you think your team's going to do. And also, if you have any thoughts on the NBA or NFL free agency, drop it here in the show. Once again, check us out, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Check us out as well on TikTok and also on let's see here. Look at that. Look at Trump tariff. You should pay for that. You should have 2 million subs. Well, if sir, madam, whoever's running this, or if you're just an AI bot, we thank you for the kind words, Jay, as we end our Friday show. Look at what happens. I come back after an absence, and we should already get 2 million subs. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm the reason we got this comment here, but
they don't call you a baby face for nothing.
Oh, he said AI bot. Good one. Oh, hey, cool. All right. Hey, well, there we go. We got the power of AI, Jay, so we're good to go. But appreciate all the love and continued support from this one here. We got Joe, Robert Wardell checking in, and of course, Frankie C, our boy. Hold it down out there in New York and get ready for a fantastic weekend. Watch the Olympics, get the final ceremonies. We'll be back on Monday. Full recap and everything else that happened over the weekend. Take it easy, guys. Enjoy your week.